Dear children, I welcome all of you to the online class of biology. So we were studying about chapter 2 biological classification in the previous video. Okay, so before starting today's lessons, I would like to explain the topics of your pre-midterm examination. So in the pre-midterm examination, two chapters will be there. That is the first chapter, that is the living world, and the second chapter will be the biological classification. This we have completed up to Monera, and I will be completing the other lessons also, and these two chapters will be there. And from first chapters, whatever I have taught you through the videos, that topics only will be coming, because some of the portions are removed from the syllabus for this year. Okay, so let's continue with our teaching. That is, we have completed the two kingdom classification proposed by Carl Linnaeus, okay, and the five kingdom classification proposed by R.H. Whittaker. Now, also we have studied about the kingdom Monera. In detail, we have studied the specialities of the members of the kingdom Monera, and also their characters, the type of organisms that are coming under kingdom Monera, etc. we have already studied. So today we are going to study about the next kingdom, that is kingdom Protista. Okay, so kingdom Protista includes all the eukaryotic and unicellular organisms. Okay, so as this is the criteria, that is unicellular and eukaryotic cells. So and there is boundaries. The boundaries of this kingdom are not well defined. Okay, as this is the criteria, there is what lot of variety of organisms are coming under this group. Okay, there are photosynthetic protistans, there are holozoic ones, there are saprophytic ones. Likewise, different kinds of organisms you can find in this way, as the criteria is, the main criteria is what? Unicellular and eukaryotic organisms. Okay, so for one scientist, a photosynthetic protestin maybe a plant. Okay, so we have studied like what Chlamydomonas, isn't it? So as they are having chlorophylls, some scientists they may consider them as plants, but for some others it may be a protestant. Okay, so in this year we are going to study about the different groups of protista. That are chrysophytes, okay, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, okay, and protozoans. Okay, so these are what? The major members of kingdom Protista that we are going to study in this year. Okay, so the names may be little bit difficult for you, because you are hearing this type of tough words for the first time. So as you repeat this 2-3 times, okay, you will become expert in all this. Okay, so the terms may be finding little bit difficult for you for the first time. Afterwards it will be easy for you, and you will be used to that. Okay, so the groups that are coming under this kingdom Protista are, what are they? Chrysophytes. Okay, chrysophytes, then dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, and protozoans. Okay, protozoans. So these are what? The groups of organisms that are coming under the kingdom Protista. Once again I will repeat, what are the groups of organisms that are coming under this kingdom? They are chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, okay, and protozoans. So we are going to study about this group in this year. Okay, so they are, as they are eukaryotes, they are having a well defined nucleus, and other cell membrane bound organelles are there in them. Some are having flagella or cilia as the locomotory organs. They produce asexually or sexually. Okay, so all this type of, or a group of organisms with a variety of characters are coming under this kingdom Protista. Okay, so we are going to study about each group, okay, one by one. So the major members that are coming under this chrysophytes are diatoms and desmids, okay, or golden algae. Diatoms and desmids or golden algae. Okay, so you can find them in fresh water and in marine water. In sea water also you can find them, or in fresh water. Okay, and they form the major plankton groups. Have you heard about phytoplankton, zooplanktons, etc.? So they form the in food chain of aquatic ecosystem you would have studied, isn't it? Phytoplanktons, zooplanktons, etc. So these type of organisms forms microscopic, okay, they form the microscopic planktons of the water bodies. Okay, and most of them are photosynthetic. In this group they are photosynthetic. Okay, and in diatoms, I told two groups are there, diatoms and golden algae. Okay, so these are the major groups in chrysophytes. Okay, so in diatoms they are having cell walls, and the cell walls form overlapping shells. Okay, their cell wall is having overlapping shells, just like a soap box. Okay, soap box you have seen, no? Lower case will be there, and over that a lid like, okay, structure will be there. Just like that, their cell walls are having overlapping shells. Okay, and these walls are having silica in them, and due to the presence of the silica, okay, they will not get destructed fastly, and over a period of time, over millions of billions of years, okay, when this diatoms die, this silica in their cell wall will not get destructed, and they will get deposited for many years, not for a short period of time. After millions, billions and millions of years, they form, okay, they will get accumulated, and that accumulation of the silica in the cell walls of diatoms is known as diatomaceous earth. Okay, it is very important economically because it is used in polishing, filtration of oil, syrups, etc. Okay, and another important feature, they form the major producers in the oceans. Why? Because they are having chlorophyll, they are photosynthetic type of protistans. So as they can do photosynthesis, okay, they form the major producers. Okay, they form or they start the food chain in the aquatic ecosystem. Is it clear? This planktons will be eaten by the small fishes, the small fishes will be eaten by the large fishes. Likewise, they start the food chain. So about chrysophytes, you understood? Chrysophytes are what? Mainly forming the planktons, isn't it? Planktons, then they are photosynthetic, isn't it? And two examples we studied, two groups coming under chrysophytes. What are they? Diatoms and golden algae. Okay, so diatoms, if you see, their cell walls are having what? Overlapping shells, okay, which is fitting together just like a soap box. Then their cell walls are having silica, and the silica deposition over a long period of time, okay, under the ocean will be known as the diatomaceous earth. And this diatomaceous earth is very useful as it gives, okay, as it is gritty, it can be used for polishing, filtration of oil, syrups, etc. And another economic importance of this chrysophytes is they are the chief producers in the ocean. Okay, they are the chief producers of the ocean. The next group is dinoflagellates. What are they? Dinoflagellates. So this dinoflagellates, they are also photosynthetic and marine. Okay, and there are a number of pigments in them. Okay, yellow, green, brown, blue, likewise red, likewise they are having different pigments in them, and depends upon the pigments their color also changes. Okay, and they are having what? Flagella, and you can see that red dinoflagellates, for example Goniolax. Okay, Goniolax. Okay, they undergo rapid multiplication, means their number will get increased very fastly and give the sea the appearance of red. Okay, so this phenomenon is known as red tides. Okay, red tides are what then? Due to the multiplication of red dinoflagellates like Goniolax, okay, the sea appear red. That is known as what? Red tides. Okay, and the toxins, they can also release certain toxins, and these toxins are very harmful for the other marine organisms like fishes. Is it clear? So dinoflagellates and chrysophytes. Okay, so these two groups are examples of what? Examples of photosynthetic protistans. Is it clear? Then next group is euglenoids. Okay, euglenoids. So euglenoids are mainly freshwater organisms. They are found mainly where? Most of them are found in fresh water, like what? Ponds, river, etc. Not in marine water. And another important feature that they are having is, instead of cell wall, they are having a protein rich layer. Okay, they are protected by a protein rich layer called pellicle. Okay, that makes their body flexible, and they are having two flagella, one short and one long. Two flagella will be there, one will be long and the other will be short. And another important feature of them is they can do photosynthesis in the presence of sunlight, and if there is no sunlight, they behave like the heterotrophs. Okay, so they are photosynthetic and heterotrophic, means they shows the characters of both plants and animals. So during the classification, this kind of organisms always make confusions. Okay, so whether to classify them under plant kingdom or under the animal kingdom. So there are these euglenoids, okay, are having this capacity, that is, if light is available, they can do photosynthesis and they can live, and if light is not there, they just behave like the heterotrophs and they predate on other smaller organisms. And the pigments which are present in them are just like the pigments of the higher plants. So example is euglena. Okay, have you heard about euglena? Okay, so this diagram is of euglena. Okay, euglena. So what is the speciality of them? They are not having cell wall. Instead of that, they are having a pellicle. Okay, then another character is two flagella is there. One is long and one is short. Okay, then they are photosynthetic. They can do photosynthesis and they can behave as heterotrophs also. The best example, the identical euglenoid is euglena. Okay, euglena. The next group of organisms that are coming under kingdom Protista is slime molds. Okay, slime molds. Slime molds, they are saprophytic protistans. Saprophytic means what? Which depends on dead organic matter. Okay, they move along with the dead organic matter, and they just eat the organic material. Okay, and if conditions are suitable, thus they aggregate many slime molds. They aggregate and form a common body which is known as the plasmodium. Okay, and this plasmodium, they may grow and spread over several feet. Okay, what is plasmodium then? Aggregation of slime molds under suitable conditions. Okay, and this plasmodium is entirely different from the other plasmodium that you have already studied, that is the malarial parasite. Okay, that we will be studying in the next group, that is in the protozoans. So when the conditions are becoming unfavorable, they differentiate and form fruiting bodies, okay, which bear spores, and the spores will be very resistant and can survive for many years, and they will be getting dispersed by wind and they will grow into a new organism. Okay, so this is what slime molds. So slime molds are what? The saprophytic members. Once you recollect what were the other groups, first was chrysophytes, isn't it? They were photosynthetic. Then next group was dinoflagellates, and third group was the euglenoids. All euglenoids, they can show both autotrophic and heterotrophic nature. So this group, they are mainly saprophytic protistans. Okay, and the characters you understood, I hope. What are they? They are having their body just moves along with the decaying twigs or organic matter, and when suitable conditions are there, favorable conditions are there, they aggregate and form a large mass that spreads over several feet, that is known as plasmodium, and during unfavorable conditions they differentiate and forms fruiting bodies bearing spores at the tip. The spores will spread and grow as the new organism. So this is clear? Okay. So the next group is the protozoans. The group protozoans are strictly heterotrophs. Okay, they live as predators or parasites. So they are they are the organisms which you can relate to the animals, isn't it? Animals are having holozoic nutrition, so this kind of nutrition you can see in this group also. Okay, so protozoans are divided into different groups like amoeboid protozoans. Okay, amoeboid protozoans. Okay, this kind of organism, they live in fresh water, sea water, moist soil, etc. Okay, and they use pseudopodia for what? Collecting the food. Okay, they use what? Pseudopodia for collecting the. If they are marine, they have what? Silica shells on their surface. And some of them are living as parasites. For example, entamoeba. Okay, have you heard about entamoeba histolytica, which causes the disease amoebiasis? Okay, so some of them are parasites. Then next group of protozoans are flagellated protozoans. Okay, so from the name itself, it is clear that they have what? Flagella. And some of the parasitic forms are also there. They cause, example is trypanosoma, which causes a disease called sleeping sickness. So flagellated protozoans, they are either free living or parasitic, and they will have what? Flagella. Okay, and the parasitic forms causes certain diseases. Example is what? Sleeping sickness caused by trypanosoma. Trypanosoma is an example for flagellated protozoan. Okay, next is ciliated protozoan. So from the name itself, what is clear? They are having cilia. Okay, thousands of cilia are there, and they are having a cavity that is known as gullet that opens to the outside of the cell surface. Okay, so with the coordinated movement of the, means all the cilia will work together that causes the water laden with food to be steered to the gullet. Okay, so the cilia work together and pushes the food to the gullet. What is gullet? A cavity that opens to the outside of the cell surface. Okay, so example is paramecium. Paramecium is having a number of what? A number of cilia in them, isn't it? Have you heard about this? Slipper animalcule. So with the help of cilia, they move and they direct the food into the cavity, okay, known as gullet. Okay, to the with the help of the cilia, they are able to bring the food into the gullet. Okay, so this is what paramecium. Paramecium is an example for ciliated protozoa. Okay, then the last group of protista is sporozoans. Okay, last group of protozoa which is coming under the kingdom protista. Okay, so these organisms, okay, have an infectious spore like stage in their life cycle. Okay, example is plasmodium. Do you remember? Okay, so from the name itself, it is clear that sporozoans, okay, they are having a spore like stage in their life cycle. And example is what? Plasmodium, the malarial parasite. I told the other plasmodium when you learned about the slime molds. Okay, that these two are different. Okay, so plasmodium in their spore like stage, okay, that causes what? The disease known as malaria. And this was a very notorious disease, isn't it? Malaria that took the life of many. Is it clear? So these are what? Different groups of protozoans. So what are the different groups of protozoans? Amoeboid protozoans, flagellated protozoans, ciliated protozoans, and sporozoans. What are the different groups of protista? Chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, then euglenoids, slime molds, and protozoans. Among this, chrysophytes and dinoflagellates are photosynthetic, euglenoids are photosynthetic or heterotrophic, slime molds are saprophytic, and protozoans are heterotrophic, mainly living as predators or parasites. So some idea you got now about all the different groups of kingdom protista. Kingdom protista includes what? Unicellular and eukaryotic organ. When we took this criteria, now you understood. Heterotrophic, okay, parasitic, then what? Saprophytic, then photosynthetic. All this type of organisms were coming under one kingdom. Hope you understood this very clearly. Thank you.